In this video, I want to show you the first steps with the Pine controller. The Pine controller has 4 motor connection ports on the right side to connect the controller with the motors. Also, there are 2 camera ports, so you can connect 2 cameras, and 1 port for external intervalometer, such as the LR Timelapse Pro timer. We have a separate video to show you how to use this timer with the Pine controller. For each motor connector, there's also a LED which shows if a motor is connected. On the left side of the controller, we have a USB port and a DC input port for powering the controller. The USB port is only for future firmware upgrades. It is not for powering the Pine controller. Powering the Pine controller is only possible via the DC input. Make sure to use the right DC connection cable. It's a 2.1 by 5.5mm DC connector. The voltage needs to be between 10 and 24 volts. Also on the left side of the controller we have 2 LEDs. One is for the connection with the app and the other one is the status of the controller. Now, if you want to connect your first motor to the Pine controller, it's important to do this before powering up the controller. When connecting the power supply, you can see the startup process of the controller on the status LED. Also, you can see how many motors were detected. In this example, we have 1 motor connected on port 1. The motor LED will be green. After starting up the controller, you can connect it with the app. The controller will automatically appear in the list. By tapping on it, the app will connect with the controller. The first screen you will see is the motor quick setup. It is important to choose the right profiles for your motors. In our example, we have a BFM motor 14x1. The profile is BFM slider 14:1. Our second motor is an NT axis. It's called an NT head and we will use it for pan. Our third motor is our tilt axis. This is also a BFM NT head. Our last motor is our focus motor. For our version 2 lens unit, we have the profile BFM lens 2. If you have a third-party motor, which we have not already a right profile for, you can always define your own profile. I will show this in the example with our NT head. First, you need to click on the plus icon next to the profiles. You need to define whether it is a slider or linear movement, or if it's a rotational movement, for example, for a pan and a tilt. In this example, it's a rotational movement. Next, we will need to define how many degrees we want to turn the unit. We will go for 90 degrees. Now, before I start, I will turn up the motor current. Now you can tap on the arrows on the bottom of the app to turn the unit. You can also vary the speed. It is important to turn the unit exactly 90 degrees from the beginning. When you are ready, just tap on Next. Now you can enter a name for your profile. Tap on Save and it's done. To create a custom profile is only needed for motors not coming from Black Forest Motion. When you have successfully set up the motor profiles, you can control each motor in the Freerun mode. There you can use the joystick or the single slider for each single motor. You can control each motor on its own by using the little motor sliders on the bottom half of the app. It is important that the motor profiles are set correctly according to its motor so that the app will work without any issues.